Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And as you can see, it's a little bit different. You can see James Bignall's painting in the background, but it's a little blurred out, I think. And my guest is sitting next to me, but I'll get to him in a second. Just want to give a shout out to Ed Smith for taking one of his paintings and making T-shirts. And I sold two of them for you today, Ed. So I got to talk to you about getting those. And also want to give a shout out to Joe Walker, the champ with thisent.com, and thank you for doing write-ups of some of the shows and helping me get this data together. And today on my show is Eric Schertzing from the Ingham County Treasurer. How you doing today, Eric?
Doing great. Glad to be your first time here in this space.
Are you? Do you want to give a shout out to somebody?
Well, I'd give a shout out to one of the folks that works for me in the treasurer's office, Janice Jackson. She had me together with a couple of good folks at LEAP a little bit before this, talking some good diversity opportunities through. So the more of that we do, the better.
So you had a meeting with LEAP before?
Just a Zoom. I guess they're meetings. Doesn't quite feel the same.
Good. So let's jump into you a little bit. Where were you born and raised, and went to school, and what brought you to be an Ingham County Treasurer?
Well, I'm an Ingham County boy through and through. I was born in Jackson, Michigan, at the hospital, but grew up in Stockbridge and Bunker Hill Township. Went to Stockbridge High School, graduated with MSU. So that was in the southeast corner of the county, and I've spent most of the rest of my life in the northwest corner of the county.
So Bunker Hill is, I always saw that street. Do you know where Pleasant Lake is?
Oh yeah, Pleasant Lake. That was one of the places to go. It used to be a great restaurant there.
Yeah, was that called?
It burnt down.
Bartlett's.
There we go. Yeah.
Bartlett's. The reason I know that place is because my grandmother bought a house. She bought a bunch of houses, not all at the same time, but she moved around Pleasant Lake for most of my childhood. So I grew up learning to ski there, learning to swim there, learning all my water tricks there. And ended up living in the house when she moved up to Paradise for a while. So I lived in Pleasant Lake. But down by Leslie, in between Leslie and Bunker Hill.
Yeah, Leslie, Stockbridge, Jackson. They had a lot of 99-year land leases in those houses. There was some interesting development stuff. Cool, great connection.
So, did you graduate from MSU and immediately become treasurer?
Oh no, but I have been doing something close to public service for 39 years. While I was in college, I started working for Congressman Carr in 1981-82 on his comeback campaign. He had lost in the Reagan Revolution in 1980 to Jim Dunn. And so my sophomore year of college, I started working for a member of Congress in the congressional office. So that was the start. Did that for most of a decade, a couple of years of real estate. And then then I worked for Pat Lindeman in the drain office. I was the chief deputy drain commissioner for Pat for 8 years. And I'm now in my 21st year as Ingham County treasurer.
You've been doing this for that long?
But 29th year at county government, I didn't expect that. I think probably you ought to live your life in shorter spurts, but that isn't what it worked out. Had 3 children in fairly short order, and it's been a good life, been a privilege and an honor.
Is that an elected position?
It is elected every 4 years on the presidential.
So you've had to be reelected 6 or 7 times?
Yeah, we've been at it for quite a while. I had run for state rep in 1992. That didn't work. Got elected county treasurer in 2000. And then if I fit in another political office run in 2014, running for U.S. Congress in the congressional district. So life has kept me busy.
We got a small problem. David Lopez is telling me that our audio is breaking up on our side. I bet it's because we got these fans on. I'm gonna turn these fans off and we're gonna speak up. But as I do that, were there a lot of tight races? That seems amazing to win 7 times in a row.
So Ingham County has had an interesting politics. It's a good thing. It's a cool day when Jerry's turning off the fans here. But, you know, the 18-year-old vote in the 70s started to turn the tide. Ingham County in the 50s and 60s was a strong Republican county. Now it's a strong Democrat electoral county. My predecessor was Don Moore, who had been there for 25 years. He was the last countywide elected official that was a Republican. A very moderate, Republican moderate person. But I think in that first run in 2000, I got 57% of the vote, and it's only added to that. So.
Let me ask, could somebody please message or put a comment in? Did we improve the quality of the audio at all?
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. I bet when you're talking, it is better than when I'm talking. So I'm going to put the mic a little bit better and just keep rolling. Well, I'm not sure, you know, I joke around with you about what I think an Ingham County treasurer does, like sit there and count the coffers of the rich county and all of that, but I don't think that's what your job is. What is your job description?
Well, that's pretty boring. You sit behind a desk and count money probably, or keep track of money. You know, I get, maybe I have a short attention span, or I get bored easily. I've always had to have, you know, other things that are a little bit more engaging. I don't think you really represent the public and get to know the community and serve the community by sitting behind a desk. You certainly do some of that, too much of it. But what I really try to do is get out every day and make sure I'm engaging with, you know, folks around the county. I spend the vast majority of the effort on the northwest quadrant, the city of Lansing. That's where there's the opportunity to serve most rewardingly in Ingham County. So that's why in 2005, after being treasurer for a little more than 4 years and winning re-election in 2004, I helped establish the second county land bank in the state of Michigan. November 1st of 2005 was the kickoff of that. And that's been a real passion and opportunity to do tremendous good in the community. That's probably its own show down the road. That's been a pretty wild ride for 16 years.
So how do I approach this? You've done something very special for some members of the community that I'm close to, including the Fledge community. So Fledge, Voices of Color with Tanisha, the Village with the Linds, and the Poor People's Campaign with Dr. Knox, or Pastor Knox, I'm sorry. Is there another?
No, well, those are the four main ones we've done lately.
Yeah. And why'd you do that, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, you know, I would proudly say I'm a politician, or a political hack, maybe, would be a derogatory term some people would use. I think it's a pretty high calling, actually. And I try to get smarter all the time. I think getting out from behind the desk has helped me do that. Spending a lot of time in the city of Lansing. And so, you know, how do you take the connections and the privilege I had as treasurer or an old white man and make sure that has maximum positive impact on the community? So what Nancy and I did recently, just to make some connections. You know, what am I was talking to a friend who's a judge, and, you know, she said, well, you know, do you know what you are? What are you? And she said, you're a connector. Think about that. Well, that's a pretty good term. I think I like that. So the point of the event was to raise a few bucks, bring some people together face to face, and connect those groups that you just mentioned with some of the folks that have been friends and, you know, donors and political allies of mine for 40 years now. And it's work. It was fun though. We had a great night. Everybody you know, hung around for a lot of really important conversations. I want to build the capacity of groups that do good.
Do you, with the work that you, I'm going to go to the land bank just for a moment. You know, there's a lot of talk recently, I think it's been for a long time, but it's really out in the public now, about generational wealth and equity, and sometimes we say restore equity, but it's equity that might not have been there. Do you think working, did you recognize that for your whole career? Did it?
Oh, no, you get smarter. You're young and foolish, and I was a farm boy from Stockbridge, Montgomery Township. 70% of the tax delinquent collection work, the foreclosure work that I do, is defined by the redlining maps that were drawn in 1940 by government. And I didn't really realize exactly what the number was. We knew it was associated. And you do some reading and study and you reflect on that. That took generational wealth out of the minority community, as did travesties like 496 blowing through south of downtown in Lansing. And so my efforts as county treasurer have been imperfect because of the legal and constitutional responsibilities I have. The land bank is really a tool to maybe make up for some of those sins. Not that the land bank has been perfect, and always happy to hear the good and bad insights that people want to share. Because we've taken down hundreds of houses. We've taken down 600 houses in the last 15 years in the city of Lansing. Most of them were heavily blighted, and there was nothing you could do. But some of them probably could have had a better outcome. We didn't get them because of something nice. It was because somebody couldn't pay their taxes. But you just keep building and learning, and we've got some tremendous opportunities going forward to right some of those historic injustices.
As you know, I've told this to you before, I was a bit intimidated to meet you. I had no idea what to expect, and accountants, bookkeepers, these are all in my mind and all of that. But I'll tell you, when I met you, you were not. It was still a little intimidating to me.
We want a little bit,
Yeah, but I think you're amazing, and to say, that redistribution of privilege is so much more important, I think, in my mind, than redistribution of wealth, because the privilege then could bring that wealth. I don't know if I'm right, but I do think that is something that people who have privilege should be sharing. And probably it turns into a different type of privilege at that point, because to the organizations you help, I think we look at you as more than just an ally that bounces back and forth between Lansing and East Lansing. I'm not sure you're an accomplice yet, but you're getting close to that. But you taught us a lot, I think. I think we all benefited in so many ways from what you did.
Well, I mean, that's certainly heartwarming to hear that. I'm honored to have had the opportunity to have gotten to know folks. I'm not pure about it though. Whether it's privilege or building wealth, it's good for the county. It's good for the community. It brings in more taxes. You can't pay for things without revenue. So the discrimination and the wealth robbing programs that we've had in this country, it really hasn't served us very well. It's time to get smart and fix some of those.
You bring up 496. My family owned a grocery store in the 40s and 50s on Olds Avenue. And when 496 went through, and then I don't know exactly the timing when General Motors put up their big parking lot, in that same area there in Rio Town now, it took out that grocery store. And I remember my dad, who was working for IMDOT at the time, was just really torn, really looking at this and saying, this is not right.
Yeah, I'm not good on music, but wasn't it tore down Paradise and put up a parking lot, right? I mean, some of those songs speak a lot more raw to us than we realize.
I read once that Lansing has more gray space per people than any place in the country, and gray space being parking lots and that. I don't think that's true.
I've read also that we have a very high concentration, but if you go to a lot of cities, I remember having a high perch in a hotel room in Minneapolis a couple of years back, and you look out at the destructive capacity of the internal combustion engine that we wrapped a car around. Those parking lots just are not vitality, just as the interstate highway system was to move people from city to suburb and really not worry about what it looked like in between.
You also, within the land bank, have, I think, the garden project or all of that. So that's important to you too, right?
Oh yes. And John Crone is the manager of that. A lot of you know John. I grew up on a farm in Bunker Hill Township that was paid off during the Great Depression by hauling produce to market. I think it was usually Jackson, not Detroit. But that's how the family made it through. And so the second year of the land bank, we started up a garden program. That was my passion. It's a good way to use space. The vacant land that we have, we were growing and mowing grass. What's the point of that? I don't like a big yard at home, and I'm on a 50-foot lot, and that's plenty. Why waste my time mowing the lawn? And so we've got literally hundreds of parcels throughout the city that the land bank owns, some of them that the city owns, that John and the program connect to individuals that are small entrepreneurs, urban farmers, just a backyard grower. We bring in the resources, have a tractor plow, all of those different things. And why not get something good for people? Grass is good for goats or lambs or something. We don't have too many of those in town. The food is what feeds the people.
And we love John in Egypt, as most people will know, and we go back a long ways with John because he was also owned a music studio. I'm sorry, John and Matt for getting it, but he donated a ton of equipment to help us get our Fletch music group going in the beginning. So,
and John has a lot of connections down to the Stockbridge area. He goes down there for hunting. His family had some land and lived down there. So. Small world.
It is a small world. So let me go over first. Giannis is saying hi to Eric and Jerry. So hi, Giannis. And Joy Gleason.
Oh yeah. Saw her at the fair last week.
Happy that some of these houses need to be torn down. One, they're dangerous, but it also does help with. It's like pruning a tree sometimes, maybe, and that it helps with the health of the housing market in general.
Sure. It was largely necessary, but let's talk about the limitations of government and spending other people's money. We had a bunch of money for demolition. Well, I was a kid with a hammer that was money for demolition, so everything's a nail, everything's a house that needs to be demolished. They didn't pay us to put roofs on them to preserve it. So that's the problem with programs that were, the interstate highway system probably wasn't dreamt up to devastate inner cities and minority community. Did a damn good job. It was a good idea they thought at the time. It's been tremendously destructive.
Sometimes the ability to predict what a system or something's going to do is
we don't even try.
And then Marlene and Wagenschutz, I'm sorry, Marlene, I feel like maybe I'm close, said I appreciated having the rundown house next to me torn down. My neighbor and I bought and split the land between us.
Oh, perfect.
And Joy then comes back, and I'll put her question on the screen in case somebody has a screen reader. It also helped identify areas for new development. The question is, how do we now help people of color develop the land as opposed to traditional developers?
Well, that is tough because it takes equity, it takes some money to do those things. The County Board of Commissioners is going to pass a resolution this month about a housing trust fund that we've been working on at the county level. The controller, Greg Todd, who's newer to the county, has earmarked $9 million of the ARPA dollars in next year's money that will flow through the county to perhaps go through the Housing Trust Fund to entities like the Ingham County Land Bank to figure out ways to develop and probably sell for ownership. Because I mean, what ownership of housing does is it builds equity. And if you're doing it on corridors in the city of Lansing, you're going to get the right buyers. You're going to serve the right population. So I think the Housing Trust Fund will be the funding tool that might be what we've been looking for. It's the culmination of my 21 years in the treasurer's office to be able to pull something like that off. And I think that can really get at some of those issues that Joy raises. With Giannis's work and some of the connections in the community. Neil Wright, who's a minority builder, is somebody, he's on Bank Street off of South Washington. We need to figure out ways to help people like Neil Wright get the capacity, get the capital to be able to start, constructing those houses. It's not easy, but we keep working at it every day. That's why we get out from behind the desk.
Love your answers. Karen, I'll throw hers up without reading, sorry. Were you and your partner happy with whatever profit you made on the Capital City Market stands now? I don't know. That's not going there, Karen, sorry.
The land bank had one of the parcels for where the Capital City Market, and then the treasurer had a double lot that was part of off of Bernard. Okay. It was sold on that. So both on the treasurer side of the world, and on the land bank side of my world, we were part of helping the developer assemble the land, and of course there's no personal gain to that other than the honor and the generous benefits that the taxpayers provide me through my paycheck.
So the Capital City Market, when it was pretty controversial to our neighborhood when they came in, because we don't really feel like it solved the food desert for us. It might for some people, and they'll argue that it's not more expensive than a regular Meijer, but they don't do the same sales and deals and have the kind of lower cost stuff. But I will shout out to Capital City Market that they have been donating the produce to us. They have helped us feed a lot of people and all of that. And I'll talk to you more, Karen, because I don't understand it all. But sorry about that. And then let me see this one real quick. Now that you're talking renovation, who, what, or how determine the saving of a historic house? Is that ever become a problem?
Well, we've done a lot of work to save houses. I mean, the first thing I do as county treasurer is make sure you're not foreclosing unless it's absolutely necessary. The first thing to do is do no harm. That's not quite what the statute really kind of drives you at. We have worked with Preservation Lansing to do the historic preservation covenants and to save historic houses where we can. It's just really hard for where you get the capital to be able to do a nice job on a historic home.
It's a lot of complicated systems come together that put barriers. I mean, it's it's life that has all sorts of challenges. I'm sure you get questions like this constantly.
I don't think I get enough questions. I mean, so the disempowered, marginalized communities, the developers, the people that got money, they find the land bank, they find the treasurer when I tax foreclose something valuable. Those folks, but I don't hear from enough people. I don't think your county commissioners hear from enough people. I would encourage folks to reach out and let us know what you need. You never know what you're going to get until you ask.
You want to, were you serious about giving your phone number out?
Oh, sure. That was going to be the finale, though. I don't want to steal. But folks are welcome to have my cell phone number. It's 517-303-7233. And Jerry will be good enough to put 517-303-7233 in the chat there. I've been giving that out for years. I've had that phone number for 20 years. People don't abuse it. I keep saying that, knock on wood, but I'm accessible. I'm there. Don't have a phone anymore, so that used to be in the phone book. I still have the cell.
So our lighting's going a little bit crazy because it doesn't know if it's raining outside or not. So I think it got a little darker on us. What what are we forgetting to talk about? Some aspect of what you do, or I don't know, maybe you paint canvases.
No, I read a lot and try to travel. I'm blessed to have a couple of lake houses up north, so I get away on the weekends year round. No, I enjoy my work. I do a lot of it. One of the more interesting things. This was a newly elected city council member, maybe a decade or 12 years ago. She was shocked to find me carrying around a bag picking up garbage on some of the vacant land that I'd either foreclosed or with the land bank. And when she asked me about it, well, yeah, that's just that's what I do. I keep those in my car. What can I do every day to add value? You want to leave the world a little more beautiful. There's not enough beauty. That trash on the yard and the lawn isn't beauty, so let's remove it. I was doing that at 744 North MLK last night in between things.
So what do you do every damn day to push that forward?
Well, I'm a little bit of a broken record on this. I try to get out from behind that desk and walk around land, visit properties, walk up and down streets. I don't go to too many addresses where I don't walk up and down the block. I mean, it's the right thing to be doing to get to know the community better, and I really go out of my way to do that, because driving by in a car is not the way to experience a community.
Have you, in doing that, is there something that really shocked you or surprised you that you learned, or anything that had maybe a profound impact on the way you approach what you do now?
It's. I think I have a granular sense of Lansing neighborhoods and streets because of the honor of the work as county treasurer I've gotten to do for 20 years, that probably exceeds anything any elected official in the county or city has. I'm not there knocking on doors asking for votes. I mean, we've done that too. But day in, day out, I try to be in the neighborhoods and walking, and you see the challenges of the sidewalk. You see the challenges of trees. Trees are a huge cost in an urban neighborhood when you have to take one down. It really cripples some people's finances. You get a sense for the quality of the homes and what's occupied and what's not. You get to know where the dogs are. I license dogs. County treasurer licenses dogs too. So.
There's a dog license required? No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a dog, so.
I don't know that I had a licensed dog as a child, on the farm.
So, to be fair, real quick, Chris Pruitt was the one who used Karen's account to put that question out there. So I expected that from you, Chris, not from Karen.
Oh.
Chris is happiest homeless person. So he was unhoused for many years and got out and then turned back around to help unhoused. So, hi, Chris. And there was something else, but you do something else, I think, every damn day, too, that might not be related to work. Or what have you done for 1,600 days?
Oh, well, so I have a language learning app. Now, it's mainly French, Spanish of late, just for travels. For 1,600 days, every damn day, I've done my language lessons.
Are you fluent in French?
Oh my goodness, no! I know an awful lot of words, and I can do what I need to do. So, I can order wine and beer usually, and make sure I get things. The most important things when you travel.
I tried to learn French in junior high school, and that went nowhere. I tried to learn more Spanish. Most of my friends were speaking or teaching me Spanish, but those are swear words and stuff. And settled on German in college. And can barely speak English, so I don't know why I even tried any of them. I think German's the one I'm the best at right
It's probably just brain exercises to overcome aging.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
Good enough reason to do it.
That's it helps with creativity. It helps with opening up channels maybe that aren't open in other things, and keeps you sharp.
Yeah. No, the only way to really do it, and I'm hoping life will eventually give me the opportunity, is you go and you live in the country for a month, and you force yourself into it, and you're flitting around some.
We went to Costa Rica and really got to practice some of our Spanish, and it was a lot of fun. And came back knowing a ton more Spanish than whatever app I had on mine.
Yeah, my hope is to do that in the Dominican Republic. I've got a cousin that lives down there. So that's really good too.
So I daisy chain these shows together. Yesterday I had on the show Chris Jackson, who is bringing the Lansing Pharaohs to Lansing. He bounces back between here and Pontiac right now. And his question for you is, what legacy would you like to leave behind?
Well, I think it really revolves around the housing work is certainly the time and energy for these 20 years, and the land bank is a manifestation of that. The icing on the cake would really be nailing down the housing trust fund, which I think can set in motion some real revitalization and equity building in the Lansing community, and that would be a pretty proud legacy.
I think that is, I've been researching them a lot, and everybody's been sending me data on them. I think Forsberg sent me a bunch of stuff on them, and it really does seem like a good solution to get ownership or land ownership into the hands of people of color, even poor people, giving them a shot at it.
Yeah, and it's specifically focusing, and we've got some opportunities with some of the funding sources. It is specifically focusing on ownership versus rental. It isn't to say rental isn't critical and important. There's a lot of programs that try to do that. But you're not going to build equity, you're not going to build generational wealth without ownership. Whether it's a house or stocks, but you can't really live in a stock. So let's do it with a house.
I know the statistic in Lansing is about 50-50 rentals and owners. Was that the same in Ingham County?
Well, no, you get outside the city, the socio-economic situation changes, so the ownership is a little bit higher. Overall, you probably get closer to 60 to 65% county.
Does a lot of times, so we talk about poverty in Lansing often. We forget about rural poverty. I think the Alice threshold for Ingham County is around, is it 46% or something? If people live below the Alice threshold.
Yeah, there's a lot of restrained incomes in Ingham County. Some of it's the university community students, some of it is the city of Lansing, some of it is rural. It's just a much tougher thing to try to do in a dispersed area. I have my biases, and it wanders its way into the housing policy work that I do. I think single-family homes are largely oversold. It's a function of the tax code. Not everybody wants a white picket fence in the suburbs. And if your income is more constrained, having to take care of your own well and septic and the potential breakdown and the huge costs that things like that bring, it just doesn't work. So I really think we've got to change what it is we think of when we think of home ownership. Townhouses, rows houses, raised ranches, even condos. For the single mom with 2 kids, she needs affordable housing. She doesn't need a lawn. She needs a park to take the kids to, not a lawn.
So tomorrow on the show, I've got Dr. Fountain. She runs a company up in the Petoskey area, Rejuvenate, and I believe she was I don't know her well yet, but I I believe she was a physician that just saw a lot of problems in the pharmaceutical industry in a way that the medical delivery system was working, and created a more holistic medical practice. And I'm going to learn a lot more about it tomorrow. It sounds very interesting to me. What question would you like me to pass to her?
Well, so she's got a different perspective and background. It would really be from her perspective. What is the one thing in her community, in your community, that you can do that will make the greatest difference?
And we've talked a lot about what you think, what I think you think is there. What's something that you could give just a random citizen? What advice could you give them to push that forward, or how do you want to answer that question?
I mean, to me, it's being engaged. It's showing up at a meeting. It's making a phone call. Folks, I do not get enough phone calls or text on that phone line. No, I mean, it's you can't know. I can't know what you want and need, which is my job as your elected county treasurer, without hearing from folks.
So there you go, Chris. Just call Eric when he gives, or the phone number's up there, and you can ask him those questions. Chris said that you guys have talked a few times and have bumped heads on the difference opinion about homelessness.
Happy to bump heads more. I'm sure my thoughts have evolved somewhat on the issue, and I would say that isn't the land bank and the county treasurer's work isn't about solving the homelessness issue. Right. Now, we bend over backwards to make sure we're not creating homelessness, and there are people that I have foreclosed on that were not safe in their house. And that happened several times this year, and so it's a complex issue that has no one solution. Chris and Eric will hopefully get more and more people engaged from our different approaches to it, and bring us closer to a solution to that problem.
I do love the diversity there, because Chris is working on it one way, you're working on it another way. It makes our brain bigger. But make that phone call, Chris, and take Eric up on it, because I truly believe that is sincere and heartfelt and authentic, that you do want more input.
Well, the other thing about the little fundraiser that we hosted for the 4 groups, folks, especially you that have a few extra bucks, give to a nonprofit. There are limitations in what government can do. I mean, government isn't the problem, but it is not all the solutions either. We need a rich tapestry of government and nonprofit and for-profit. So if you got a few extra bucks, give it to the Fledge.
Thank you. And I'll just add, because that's how we are, or another group that you believe in too.
I knew I could count on Jerry to do that.
So there's a lot of good people out there that, of course, the Fledge would appreciate it, but I also admire you for giving it to efforts you support. Happiness, sadness, joy, hope, or love. Which word or words would you like to talk about?
Oh, I'll pick love, because it ties into housing for me again.
Oh, really? How does it tie into housing?
So I have these lines as treasurer. One of them, which my staff just waits for, is it's only money. Probably a treasurer, they're thinking, shouldn't say that. My time and Jerry's time and your time is more valuable than money. Money can't buy you time. So that's one of the lines. But the other one is the houses that the land bank works on, or the treasurer ends up with in foreclosure. Fundamentally, they're unloved. And they need love. And if the owner can't show them love, then you get a foreclosure. And through the tax auction we're doing with the Lansing Center on the 26th of this month, it'll be a barn burner. 10 a.m., come by, you get coffee and a pastry if you come by. We sell them to somebody that wants to make it a home, somebody that wants to start out with an investment in a house, or somebody that does that for a living. and finds somebody to love them. I want to get the tax money. I want to get as much money out of the house. But I tell, to my auctioneer's chagrin, I tell everybody in those audiences every year, I'm not trying to get your last dollar. I need you to take that money and put it into that house and love that house and make sure the neighborhood knows somebody loves that house and loves that neighborhood and is going to help rebuild that block. Because the health of that block drives value, wealth, county revenue, my pay, everything selfishly. It all connects together beautifully.
And I would add that the health of that block drives community, strength of the community, and us taking care of each other, which, sometimes we look to the government too much, we look to nonprofits for too much, but at the end of the day, our neighbors, if we got together as neighbors and took care of each other better, we could solve a lot of problems. So I love that you're talking about love. Any other reason you pick love?
I've got a wonderful wife and 3 kids, and I'm surrounded by it. And it's what people need: hope, which government and our words and nonprofit community, we can help give them hope. And somehow or another, people need to get love or appreciation or acknowledgement and empowerment. And I think love is just a good way to do it. And loving those houses is what we're trying to have happen one way or another.
So I'm very happy you picked that subject or that word and went down that route. How'd we do? Did we forget to talk about anything that you wanted to talk about?
No. I mean, I beg the community to be more engaged and reach out and go to meetings, volunteer if you can't give. Right, your time is valuable. Money's only money, and that's how we make Lansing and Michigan a better place. It takes all of us.
That just reminded me that you said not just reach out to you, but also reach out to your county commissioner. I bet you a lot of us, because I had this, I thought the county commissioners was everybody but Lansing. Like I didn't know I had a county commissioner until maybe 10 years ago.
So there's a little tension or competition probably between the constitutional officers, the county-wides, and the commissioners. I'm teasing on this a little bit. So I get to do this all day long, and paid well for it, so I can take those phone calls. The county commissioners have day jobs, so it's a little bit harder for them. But the only way, here's the problem with being a strong Democratic county. I mean, I didn't learn the community by campaigning in 2020. I didn't put up signs. I didn't do anything for the campaign because it would have been a misallocation of resources, money and time. So Democrats get elected in most of these districts without much necessary public exposure. So folks, it's incumbent on you to make sure you communicate to us. People do it a lot more with city council, but the county commissioners are right in there with the healthcare millage, the senior millage as part of the county programming. The trails, the zoo is, as of 15 years ago, is a county enterprise. Those are all things to make life easier on the city and in the city of Lansing and make the region stronger and better. Tell us what you need.
And that goes for most of life, and all you entrepreneurs out there, make sure you're listening to people, because you're not going to sell your wares to people that don't care about them. So make sure you're listening and like that two-way part of the conversation. So thanks for having that open door or that open phone, I don't know what we call it these days, policy.
Yeah.
So make sure you take Eric up on that. And thank you so very much for taking time out and coming over and talking with us.
My honor. I'm headed off to an address in Lansing of the tax foreclosure from 4 to 6 o'clock to do an open house.
Yeah.
So it's just staying very engaged. And I'm serious about, if you want a view of humanity that's unique, you're welcome to come by and get a free pass into the auction on the 26th at 10 a.m. I mean, it's 150 to 200 people that come in, and it's just a fascinating process, good and bad, I suppose, depending on the specific situation.
So it's worth coming to and taking a look at.
Yeah, I mean, especially for community activists and neighborhood folks, and I invite in elected officials if you want to show up every once in a while. There's a number of the people that make a difference in our neighborhoods, improving the homes, that get their inventory from the tax auction.
So that's Thursday morning, 10 a.m.
Yeah, 10 a.m. is when it starts.
26 Lansing Center, and go check it out. You get free something.
I've got coffee and 10 dozen 10 dozen Danish coming in, so somebody's got to eat.
You gotta get there early because if 150 show up.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to order a few more.
Thank you so very much.
My honor and pleasure. Thank you, Jerry.
And I spoiled the whole surprise. I'm sorry about that. I should have thought that through. But what would you like to take us out? Reiterate your phone number?
The world is run by those that show up, folks. Make sure it's a rainbow, because it's not.
I can't improve that. I'll see you all tomorrow at 2 p.m. for Every Damn Day. We'll have Dr. Lisa with us, and you all have a great day. Love you all.